Also have news on Lexie Hull. 1 Lexie, 2 Lexie, 3 Lexie, 4, 5. It's 6 Lexie Hulls out there on that floor at all times. She's everywhere.
Caitlin Clark draws the spotlight, the cameras, the endorsement deals, and all the surrounding drama. But her teammate has been steadily creating something meaningful of her own. Lexie Hull has officially launched a cosmetics brand, and it caught many people by surprise. Truthfully, the timing speaks volumes. So before dismissing it as just another athlete side project, it's worth understanding the full context. Do you believe Lexie Hull deserves greater recognition for everything she contributes to the Indiana Fever? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's shift the focus to Lexie Hull for a moment. Not Caitlin Clark, not the surge in ticket sales or television ratings, not the Sports Illustrated covers, the Nike endorsements, or the social media storms that erupt whenever Clark makes a simple play. Today is about Lexie Hull, a player who has spent years competing alongside what may be the most discussed figure in women's basketball and has managed to remain composed, consistent, and highly effective. Now, she's added entrepreneur to her resume as well, officially stepping into the beauty industry with the launch of her own cosmetics brand.
Courtesy of Yahoo Sports, Indiana Fever's Lexie Hull makes announcement after launching own brand.
And yes, people definitely have opinions about it. So let's take a closer look at the full picture. First of all, who exactly is Lexie Hull? If she hasn't been on your radar, you're not alone. And that's precisely why this conversation matters. Hull was selected 6th overall in the 2022 WNBA draft. 6th overall is not a casual selection or a filler pick. It represents a serious investment and strong belief in a player's potential. It signals high expectations and long-term vision. Since entering the league, Hull has consistently worked to justify that confidence, proving season after season that the decision to draft her that high was well-deserved. During the 2025 season, she averaged 7.2 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game. At first glance, those may not look like headline-grabbing superstar numbers, but context matters. Hull was never assigned the role of primary scorer or franchise centerpiece. Instead, she was tasked with being the structural support, the steady, reliable presence that keeps the system functioning while the marquee names command attention. She embraced the responsibility of being the glue, the stabilizer when things became chaotic. And when moments of instability emerged, as they inevitably do, she was often the steady force holding everything together.
Defended her.
Yeah, I mean, I think Lexie is, obviously, as you guys know, she's one of my good friends, so I don't really have many bad things to say about her. But every team in this league should want a Lexie Hull type of player on their team. That's just never once have I seen her be disappointed in the amount she played. And I was here at the beginning of last year when she was getting DNPs, and was the exact same person as she is right now. As you know, probably she turned into our third option offensively because we lost so many players, but also like she embraced that and she worked for that and she wanted to be in that moment. And I think she's really flourished and her game has improved quite a bit. She's always been such a tenacious defender, and obviously you all know she's had some back troubles throughout the end of this playoffs here. And I'm like, Lex, you just play reckless. You're gonna I was holding my breath those last few games, but that literally just sums up the type of person she is. She's selfless. She's gonna go out there, she's gonna lay it all on the line for this team. There was never a doubt in her mind if she was ever gonna play a game in the playoffs where she had pain. She was going out there and she was going to play. There was no question, and that really just sums up who she is. And we're really fortunate to have her as a part of our organization, and I hope it's like that for many years to come too.
Last season, the Indiana Fever were struck by a string of injuries that could have completely derailed a less resilient team. Caitlin Clark was sidelined. Sophie Cunningham was sidelined. Important contributors were going down one after another. Yet through all of that instability, Lexie Hull appeared in every single game. Every single one. While some of the team's most high-profile names were listed on injury reports and making news with updates about their return timelines, Hull continued to lace up her shoes, take the court, and handle her responsibilities without interruption.
Spreading the floor. And Mitchell got a hand in there, knocks it away. Both Lexie Hull and Gabby Williams.
She became the stabilizing force, the steady presence preventing Indiana from falling apart entirely. Yet when highlight reels roll, when major outlets break down key performances, and when debate shows launch into their loudest opinions, how often does Lexie Hull's name headline the discussion? That silence speaks volumes. Now the storyline takes a compelling turn: free agency. Lexie Hull enters 2026 as an unrestricted free agent after completing her 4th season with the Indiana Fever. For the first time in her professional career, she has leverage and choice. She can meet with organizations, evaluate their vision, and determine where the next phase of her journey will unfold. That is a significant moment for any player. Indiana, despite the star power on its roster, should have strong incentive to retain her. What Hull contributes does not always translate cleanly onto a stat sheet. It shows up in the defensive matchups she accepts without hesitation, the well-timed screens that create scoring opportunities for others, and the steady energy she provides when momentum begins to slip. She embodies the type of role player every serious contender depends on, even if that role is rarely celebrated publicly. So yes, free agency looms large. And judging by how Hull is approaching this offseason, she is clearly positioning herself proactively rather than waiting for opportunity to find her. She is creating momentum on her own terms and in her own lane. That brings us to Ford Cosmetics. In early 2025, Lexie Hull co-founded a beauty brand called Ford Cosmetics, partnering with former beauty investor Sarah Guller to bring a focused vision to life. The concept is straightforward but intentional, makeup specifically designed to perform for athletes. Not products that look flawless for a brief moment under studio lights only to break down at the first sign of sweat. Not formulas that force women to choose between competing at a high level and feeling polished. Ford Cosmetics was created to bridge that gap. The brand centers on performance-driven products engineered to resist sweat, remain intact through constant movement, and endure the physical intensity that traditional cosmetics companies often overlook. And truthfully, that need is very real. Anyone who has attempted to wear makeup during a workout, a competitive game, or even a long, humid day understands the frustration, smudging, fading, and the inevitable raccoon eye effect before halftime. It is a genuine problem, and Hull identified it from a perspective few beauty founders possess: the lived experience of an elite athlete navigating those challenges firsthand. She is a top-tier competitor who understands exactly what her body endures. She knows the toll of a 2-hour training session, the strain of consecutive road games, and how exhausting it is to maintain flawless presentation in front of cameras immediately after playing 40 relentless minutes at full intensity. That kind of first-hand experience cannot be manufactured, and it certainly cannot be purchased through branding consultants. It is authentic. Hull possesses it instinctively, and she has shaped her image around that authenticity. The Instagram signaled that on Tuesday, Hull used her Instagram stories to hint that Ford's upcoming product release is near. She tagged the company and added a simple caption, OTW. Just 2 letters and a period. On the way. Yet that minimal message carried undeniable confidence. There was no extended announcement, no elaborate press statement, no carefully staged countryside photo shoot with cinematic lighting and wind effects. She posted 2 letters, tagged the brand, and allowed the simplicity to deliver the message. That level of steady, unshaken confidence belongs to someone who understands her vision and feels no need to exaggerate enthusiasm for public approval. The products are on the horizon. The brand is established. And regardless of how much attention the sports world chooses to give, Lexie Hull continues progressing on her own path. Now, let's confront the obvious reality. Any discussion about Lexie Hull eventually circles back to Caitlin Clark, because that's simply the nature of competing with the Indiana Fever today. Clark is the focal point around which everything revolves. Media coverage centers on her. Sponsorships pursue her. Cameras are drawn to her. The conversation rarely shifts away. Hull also happens to be her closest friend. Their connection began within college basketball circles and naturally transitioned into their professional careers. Their friendship is authentic and admirable. However, it also introduces a distinct dynamic that deserves an honest look, because when your best friend is Caitlin Clark, the spotlight never dims. When you share the court with Caitlin Clark, the sports media will consistently remind everyone who the headline figure is. Nearly every feature written about Hull finds a way to mention Clark. Every highlight reel of the Indiana Fever puts Clark front and center. Any discussion about Indiana's direction inevitably pivots to what Clark plans to do next. Yet to Hull's immense credit, she has never appeared resentful. She fulfills her role, competes hard, backs her teammate, and then off the court quietly builds ventures of her own, including co-founding a cosmetics company. That kind of understated strength rarely receives the recognition it deserves. Still, it would be unrealistic to ignore what it means to develop a personal brand while playing alongside the league's most discussed star. There is undeniable courage in that decision. Intentional or not, Hull is making a statement. Through Ford Cosmetics, she is establishing that her identity extends beyond being Clark's teammate. She has entrepreneurial awareness. She has direction. She is creating something that is fully and exclusively hers. The way someone constructs a brand often reflects their character. Hull did not look for an easy shortcut. She didn't simply attach her name to an existing product and label it a partnership. Instead, she chose to build with purpose, signaling that her ambitions stretch well beyond the basketball court. She built a company from the ground up, joining forces with Sarah Guller, who brings genuine industry expertise and focused on addressing a real need for a real audience. This is not the strategy of someone chasing a quick payday. It's the approach of a visionary thinking long-term. The product positioning is thoughtful and precise. Makeup that performs as hard as its users do isn't just a clever tagline. It's a guiding philosophy. It speaks directly to a segment of consumers that has often been overlooked by traditional beauty brands. The active woman, the athlete, the person who relies on her makeup to last through a full day of demanding activity, not just a staged photo shoot. And that audience is vast. The WNBA audience, young, predominantly female, and increasingly tuned into brand culture, is precisely the community that would embrace a product like this, provided it lives up to its promise. Hull comes with a built-in platform from her years in the league and a genuine connection to the target audience, because she herself embodies that audience. She is entering a moment when women's sports are more commercially viable than ever, and that timing is intentional, not coincidental. Durability as a superpower. Here's a quality that too often gets overlooked when people discuss the Indiana Fever roster.